Andrew, what's new?
Oh, there's always something, that's for sure. So, I got a few things that I wanted to share today. One of the first ones here, I mentioned a couple of scripts from Timmy Anderson last week when we were talking about another tool from OOBE around basically identifying what various policies, applications, things like that we have assigned to our groups in Intune. There are a number of tools that can help us do that depending on what we're trying to identify. And right here at the end of the year, Timmy added a new script. He's got a couple of scripts that help with that process, but has a new script to get all of the required assigned applications for all of the Entra groups that you have things assigned to. So I thought that this was. I know that this is going to be very useful to a lot of Intune admins because our assignments can get unwieldy very quickly. So I just wanted to make sure that I called that out today. It's a fantastic resource here to throw in your scripts. So thank you, Timmy, for putting that out there. Also came across a blog post from our friend Mike Niehaus that he posted at the end of the year here around Windows imaging and licensing. I'm not going to get everybody's heart rate up talking about licensing, but definitely recommend you going and checking out Michael's blog post here. He does a great job, as always, kind of talking through some of the nuance of licensing. Of course, Michael is not a Microsoft account rep or a licensing expert. I always make sure that we say those things when we're talking about licensing. But a different perspective, I think, is always a good thing. And Michael focuses mostly around imaging and how that relates to the licensing types that we have available to us. So another good licensing resource here that I wanted to call out. It is interesting that some of the products aren't even necessarily available depending on what type of contract you have with Microsoft. So I had never come across this chart before. I thought that was a pretty interesting one. Also noticed that our friends over at MS Endpoint Manager, I came across, I think we referenced this blog post, maybe you brought it up back in October, Johan, when Ben first posted this, on unpacking the Microsoft, the Intune MDM certificate. Here in December, Ben added the Entra ID certificate as well to this blog post and updated the associated script that sort of helps you decode that certificate. It is a tiny deep dive, as Ben mentions here, but it is a deep dive nonetheless into what some of the various attributes and values of these certificates mean to you on these devices.
Well, I just wanted to put something out there. I really like the people over at Patch My PC. Great folks, but when they say tiny deep dive, no, it's usually like a 20-page document with all sorts of gory details in it. So deep dive, yes, absolutely, great stuff. Tiny, not so much, no.
I would have to agree. This one is a little lengthy here, but fantastic information, as you said. And then last but not least, Johan and I were both following a thread from Aria over at Microsoft, just asking, kind of putting a call out there on Twitter. If there's one thing this year about Windows updates that you could change, what would it be? And there were several replies to that thread. But one that caught my eye was another friend of ours, Brooks Pepin, mentioned better reporting in Intune on the Windows Update for Business stuff at the device level. Potentially seeing which rings are assigned to the device, which updates are available, what the deadlines look like. And I agree entirely. I would like that to be easier for us to identify that information on the client side. And Brian Dam replied to that with a script that looks like he's had it out there for a while, and I just happened to miss it. But he wrote a script that attempts to get some of this information for our clients. And he has it posted up here on GitHub. And again, just another tool to help us figure out what assignments are made to a client, essentially. Quite a few functions in this PowerShell script, it looks like. I haven't had the chance to even run it myself yet, but I generally trust anything that Brian's putting out there, and he has put out some fantastic scripts around Windows updates over the last 10 years, 5 to 10 years. So this is another thing that I'm also going to be throwing in my toolbox. I was happy that I caught that reply in that thread. I wanted to share it all with you, share it with you all as well. So yeah, I think that's my rambling for the moment, Johan.
All right. I have a few things on my mind, so let's go ahead and share my screen here. And there we go. First of all, it's not really technical, but I'm quite happy for it. I managed to become an American citizen yesterday. Been on that journey for a bit. Thank you, sir.
Yay.
And yeah, so here I am.
We're very happy to have you, I must say.
Yeah, it was just a small group of us. There were 109 people, 49 different countries taking the oath in front of a judge there. And yeah, it was a nice trip into Chicago and back home again.
So cool. Well, congratulations, sir.
Thank you, thank you. But now back to the normal topics. First of all, literally a few minutes before we started here today, I managed to finish up a blog post I've been working on. We got a step back 2 seconds. On the Academy, we have a community. Most of you know that already. We have grown significantly over the holidays. We have 500 members now. We were only a few hundred before Christmas. But we got a question in there. And the question was, how can I get use PSD to deploy Windows 11 so it ends up in out-of-box experience? Typically, it's something you use for Autopilot, but you can use the same techniques for testing audit mode or other setup type troubleshooting. But long story short, I put that blog post together. This is a script that you add to your deployment share, and then you simply copy or configure your sequence. So copy down that script during the WinP phase, because the trick to get the machine into out-of-box experience is to make sure you delete everything that is related to the deployment solution that was running it. And I can't do that while I'm running the sequence. But I can copy the script that does the cleanup when I'm running the sequence. And then I'm leveraging another 10 file to actually remove or run the script that will do the cleanup after reboot. Because when you deploy Windows, and this goes back to Windows Vista days, but after the WinP phase, when the device reboots, it comes up in a specialized pass. That's pass number 4. That's before out-of-box experience. So if you need to do something before out-of-box experience, that's the pass to do it. So in that pass, I simply here added on a 10 file that is very, very small, that just runs that script. The only challenge with the specialized pass is that it's really painful to troubleshoot, because if you use tiny typo in the script, it just continues and does whatever. There is no immediate pause for it. But what you can do is that you can simply add in this to just open a PowerShell prompt, and it will sit there and wait for your input. And at that point, you can run whatever script and test and edit and whatnot. So yeah, long story short, a post on how to do that. And as a bonus, you'll learn a little bit about the setup engine and the order of things, how it works. So something to try.
Very cool.
Thank you. Then we had Martin Himken that stumbled across a bug in the December update of Windows 11 24H2. So I figured I could show you that bug. So let me see if I can get that window over to this computer. Here we are. Yeah, that looks okay. So if I go to like any internet resource, I'm stealing Andrew's latest changes here of the hydration kit, but I'm downloading this archive. And you know that when you download stuff over the internet that get tagged with a zone identifier, they usually call it mark of the web or MOTW, but it's a streams provider and identifier on the file. So if you do properties on it, you can unblock, and you can also do it in PowerShell and check it if you want. So there's a streams command you can add to a PowerShell script. But long story short, if I unblock this one and hit OK and go back again, it's still unblocked. When I've tried to do this again, it gets mad at me. So I can't do that. In fact, it has already removed it. It just doesn't show that it has removed it. And if you try to copy the file, the copy will get the block back again. But the trick to do is the following. So see if I can get this up in, let me download that one again. So now I have the file. I will once again do an unblock. And then before checking again, I will close the Explorer window. And I will go and close all Explorer windows. And I will restart. If I can spell Explorer, that would be great. Restart this one. I should get my start menu back here shortly. That's the idea. What can go wrong in a live demo?
Surely nothing when you're restarting Explorer.exe.
Let me try to just run it. There we go. Back again. Go to the downloads folder. Check the file again. Gone. So they should have caught that in testing. They didn't. So that's a little bit of a bug right now in 24H2 December update only.
So basically the change is still happening. It's just not being displayed properly.
Yeah, and you cannot use it until you close your Explorer windows or rename the file, as Martin found out also.
Ugh.
It's like there is a handle or something open to it. So anywho, I thought that was a cool thing to share. Last week, or technically, well, early this week, we finished up our ConfigMas videos on YouTube. My intention was to do one every day. That didn't happen. I simply couldn't find the time, but I ended up doing 5 of them during the 12-day after Christmas there. So we did large-scale automation in these videos, and if you're interested in doing a lot of automation around mass deployments of Windows for config menu testing or application testing or whatever you need to do, check out those scripts. They have been published up to the GitHub repository. Also, you find links, etc., in the videos. But that's what I spent my last days of the Christmas holidays with. So they are available. Finally, Rudy over at Patch My PC put together a fantastic blog post earlier today, actually. I think I saw it. Yeah, January 8th. Yeah.
It was my first text message of the morning at about 7 a.m. So
I can wonder what idiot sent you that message.
it was a worthwhile text message because this blog post is awesome.
It is. It kind of ties into the event we did on the community just before Christmas here, but on December 20, we had a it turned out to be half an hour session on technical drill down to software updates, and we covered feature updates in that one. And the recording is available if you guys want to view it. But this blog post takes that one step further and explains the decision making and how the auto patch and Windows Update for Business Deployment service is involved in that process. Obviously, auto patch is only used when you have auto patch, but this one is always used when you use the feature update windows in, sorry, the feature update policy type in Intune to do feature updates. So, absolutely great post. Highly recommend reading. All right. That was all I had in terms of news.
Awesome. Well, some great stuff coming out of the community as always over the last couple of weeks.